I got the 2026 schedule. Somebody dropped me the other day, so I had to reboot that one. So we finally fixed that last night. The 2027 schedule is basically done. Now the 2028. We had a emergency the last couple days.
Is this what
So
happens when you get stuck in a hotel room for a couple days?
like this is I, the baseball and the games and the talk about the games and the players. This scheduling stuff, if I don't stay ahead of that, you get in so much trouble. The recruiting never stops, but when you have this little gap, you have to get into other parts of the job. The stuff at the facility that we're trying to pull off, I like you have to jump into some of the other things or you can't finish it. And you get stuck, you get behind. So part of it is beyond like what who to pitch or who's playing or what's going on at the tournament today or what time you have to run the other parts of the program so you can function. It's in this little gap, like this is the first time you've had a breather to do some of these things. And I'm responsible for more than just whether we turn the double play or not. It's so I had to fix a schedule. I had a team cancel on me a weekend, a front end weekend, and it's hard to fill that. I try to stay 3 years ahead with the weekends, and when somebody cancels on you, like for next year, like that's a scramble. So anyway, got that done last night.
Alex Lodis, coach. Back-to-back players for you at Florida State have an ACC Player of the Year. Um, can you kind of walk us back to recruiting him out of the transfer portal, what you saw in him, the vision you kind of laid down before him, and what you think about that young man now?
Well, the era we're in, you have the opportunity to acquire transfers, and the players have the opportunity to try to maneuver and find the spot that fits them. And when I saw him play, you could see the strength, you could see the ranginess, you could see the athleticism. He was a freshman. Any freshman has some work to do to mature and figure out the game, the details of the game. And I could tell that was the case with him. We were very short in the middle infield. And, when you're able to grab Drew Farrow and Lodis and inject that kind of physical upside into the program, it's fun as the infield coach to know that you have those type of athletes to work with every single day. And then you try to find the mechanisms that allows them to solidify themselves at a specific position. And both of them played shortstop in the fall, both falls really. And Alex matured and mastered it. And I thought Farrow at second base, the ability to turn the double play and the things he does laterally so well, it just seemed like it fit. And they both seemed comfortable at those spots. And off we went. To Lodis, the application of training principles in game settings is what I saw the biggest strides with. The understanding of how to use your feet to make the throws, the game clock, how much time you have to deliver the ball, when you have to come get it, when you can field it in a more traditional manner, when you get around the ball to your right, when you actually have to backhand the ball to your right. You could see him take the things we work on in practice and actually put it into the game. And that's fun for me because it doesn't always go that way. Like you have to take and have the feel for the game and take it into the game. And on the stage he's on to apply it, it just says a lot about his mindset and toughness to take those things into the competition at this level and clearly beyond. He's positioned himself for longevity in the game. Offensively, some very minor swing modifications, just minor stuff. he was a little scoopy and maybe a little lifty when he got here. And just slowly through the drills and the training that we do, we're not trying to reinvent everybody's swing, but I think from a swing perspective, everybody has certain things that they need to try to work on. And that holds true in the major leagues. Those guys find little drills and things that they like to do, routines that get them in the right position. And then the work we do in the cages and our assistant coaches, how hard they work with the video, and our players receive information after every game. We now have the ability, they get a document that shows them the pitches they swung at, the locations of those pitches. So again, the information these guys have is really cool, but you have to take that information and the things you learn and apply it in the game. And he's done it, and he's physically gotten stronger. He understands himself, management of the at-bat. I think the pitch selection has gotten better, and that leads you to the point of this could be the best baseball player in the country. Probably is. I do a poor job of assessing everybody else in the country and trying to compare. I know he's spectacular. The consistency defensively, the delivery offensively, some of the moments, the use of the field, the power. It's as good as I've seen.
This is such a unique week where you could play kind of a full weekend. You could just play one game. Obviously, turning the page to regional, how do you approach the rotation this weekend? How do you, when you only guaranteed one game, how do you go in?
Well, I think we want to see who we play, and go from there. Like we're not ready. Mike and I met this morning and we talked about it, and we're on hold a little bit, and that is a luxury that we have of being in the position we're in. We get to assess what's going on, and we have really all three, quite frankly, of our starting pitchers are in play to start the game. And when you look ahead, you want to make sure you're aligning things for the following weekend too, so you keep the regional round in mind as you look at who you would throw and how much they would throw in this tournament. But quite frankly, we're not there yet. We do have a lot of good options. I do think all three of our guys are available if we chose to start Jamie or Joey or Wes in the Friday game. I think all of that is in play, and that's a pretty neat luxury. And the bullpen is rested. The format of the tournament, when we decided as coaches that we wanted to bring all the teams, a secondary piece was we needed to protect the teams that had the better ACC regular seasons. And I think that's exactly what happened. And then the other teams have to work their way through it, and you're rewarding the teams that finished higher by resting the pitching. And so we just have to see. None of us have been through this. So we're taking it in a little bit and thinking through what's best. I don't have an answer. The luxury is really all three of our starters could throw on Friday.
The way Wes has thrown the last 2 weeks, how much confidence has that given you guys in what he can do for you in postseason?
Yeah, that last start, that was huge. To think that you've played all these games and it comes down to the last game and the last inning and the last pitch of the last game, and that was his best start. His stuff was as loud as I've seen it. The fastball itself was really good. The other pitches were good. He's maturing. You groom these guys to try to be starters and get better as they go. I think that's what he's done. And the work with Micah and Jamie and Phil and creating the complete picture, you're seeing it. And there's a lot more to come for him as we look to the postseason and into next year. But it's great. You want to see these guys getting a little bit better as we go. Joey nor Wes had really ever pressed the envelope of the workload that we've seen. I think Wes has handled it a little better than Joey. Joey was coming off injury. So having this week and this time to figure out what's best and who to use and who needs rest and how much we want to throw somebody, that's the unique nature of this tournament, but it's also the luxury of being in the position we're in. But I could not be happier with how Wes has grown, the strike throwing has gotten better. I think the disguising of the secondary pitches has continued to come along a little bit. And, he's a really good athlete. So, you're getting some things that come up out there on the mound that he can handle just because of his athleticism. So I'm really, really happy with where he is.
I think it was only 15 pitches or so, but the way that Holt spun the breaking ball and those 15 pitches or so, just how good was that to see?
Great. Thought it was better than before he got hurt. We need him. And you look at last year and the way this thing played out, he was a huge part of it. And we need that. Like, we need him. We need the left on left. Our starters clearly left-handed, but then we get a little right-handed heavy out of the bullpen. So having him back and confident and spinning it, and there's enough life on the fastball that's in play too, it sure does help.
Like, what have you kind of thought about Jackson West's performance of late? What keeps you still optimistic that things are on the horizon for him to maybe kind of a breakout, I guess, in this part of the season?
When you have a player that delivered for you down the stretch when it really mattered the most, regional, super regional, Omaha, I hold on to that. And programmatically, that mattered to me a lot. He's had a string of tough luck. I can't answer why that is. The line outs and the quality of the contact and some of the really good at-bats have not resulted in much for him. You guys know it. You ask me about it every week. I think he actually caught really well this past weekend. Why the line drives and the balls in the gap are not landing for him and some of the other things. I wish I could tell you. Maybe things pivot at some point, but he does find a way on base. I think the timeliness, like last year, there were things that he did that absolutely delivered for us at critical moments. And I hang on to what some of those guys did for us that put us in a position to be in Omaha and perform in Omaha. And he was one of them. I do think he is caught better. I think he's blocked a little bit better as of late. I think the receiving is just fine. He brings some energy and some scrappiness and some fight. So that's where he is. And you have Carnes who's coming, and Nate clearly can handle himself just fine. So we're okay. Jackson, why it hasn't gone better, like offensively, I wish I could tell you. Probably more lineouts and more quality at bats than anybody. Little result, and that's unfortunately part of it.
How much of that is like a player's mentality, Link? I mean, I don't know if you had a similar kind of story in your career, but just the fact, I think any kind of maybe high school family who listens to this interview and hears that like you're sticking with Jackson because of what he did for you last year and how pivotal he was. I guess just how much of the ball player in you is what kind of informs that opinion and that strategy.
Well, probably a lot. I think he's done fine catching for us. I do. I think the quality of the at-bat has been better than the result of batting average and the extra base hit. And I know what it is. Like, I know that the extra base hit's not in play, but the on base, and when you have a capable 1-2 in the order, that the ability of your 8 and 9 guys to find ways on base, it does give those guys a chance. I mean, Gage and Lodis, the chances of their first at bat giving them RBI opportunities are very rare, right? But if you get into the game a little bit and you have a guy that's got a good on base percentage at the bottom that gives you a good at bat and sees some pitches, it does help. So I've been through crap like that, like he's gone through. And there are parts of his game that needed to be better. But I do remember and recognize what he did for us when it mattered most. And I think there are some good things coming for him. And it is a left-handed bat, and he does match up with some of the guys that we've seen lately. And I think that's fair. And the other 2 guys are very capable. But he has done some things to help us.
All right, we'll see you at
Appreciate it.
Mountains on Monday, Coach. Best of luck up there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.